Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm super excited. I have a guest on with me today. This is Michael Riker. He's with Ogvo, and he specializes in helping businesses have a digital footprint across all the platforms, making sure they're seen organically when people are searching the internet. And he also specializes in turning reviews into business. Michael, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on today.
Hey, you are very welcome, and I'm super excited. We have a huge list. I want to get right into it. Michael is awesome. He's helped a lot of businesses. He's helping our business now. So we want to get right into it. And let me share my screen. Here we go. So you should see the list of what we're going to be covering today. This is going to be massive to making sure that your business ranks. And so I want to do a quick overview. Michael and I brainstormed this list together of things that I thought was valuable, and he added a ton to it because I've kind of just stumbled across this stuff over time. But Michael's an expert in this. This is what he does all day, every day. So we're going to kind of run through the list real quick, and then Michael's going to go through mine because they haven't optimized my stuff yet. We wanted to wait for this video so that you guys could see real time of him kind of breaking down what I've done right, what I've done, maybe right, and then what I'm missing. And this is going to be huge for your business, so make sure you watch this all the way through. So when we were looking at this, we said the main thing that you want to focus on first is what sites do you need to make sure that your business is on. And these are the ones we came up with: Google, Facebook business page, not personal. You definitely have your personal, but you got to have a business page. Your Instagram, you can have an Instagram business page and have that linked to Facebook. You have Yelp, you have LinkedIn, you have YouTube, and then there's a ton more that you can add, like Twitter and things like that. Michael, what are some other ones that you've seen that are, maybe not as powerful as these, but other people have leveraged?
You definitely do have the main ones that are going to be the most important for being able to drive new business. I would say Angie's List has actually been something that I've seen recently that's been popping up in a lot of areas to be able to
Okay.
validate your business as well. So that could be another spot that somebody could look into.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
That's good
perfect.
to
That's
know.
good to know.
All right, so
All
we
right,
have
we have
those
those
ones.
ones.
And Michael,
And
I'm
Michael,
echoing on your side again a little bit.
okay, I'll pull that away a little bit. Did that help?
Yeah, yep, that's better. Um,
Okay.
and so the other thing you can do once you have these, or maybe you already have a lot of these done, you have to make sure that everything matches. So there's two ways to do this. You can either use Ogvo, so when you use their services, they're going to do this for you automatically and make sure everything is cohesive. And then you can also use Yext. So there's two ways of doing that. Michael, is Yext free, or how's that work?
Yext is a subscription-based service that they charge a monthly fee to be able to continuously make sure that all of your platforms are cohesive across all the board, and it'll consistently every month send out the updates if anything ever changes. We do that upon getting people onboarded with us, and then we also have a place on our website that will allow you to be able to do a complimentary scan of your business. So it's a great opportunity to be able to go and check and see if the work that you've done on your pages is matching up everywhere.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
That's good to
perfect.
know
That's good
because
to know
I
because
catch it
I
all the
catch it
time. Like
all
I'll
the
be
time. Like
doing
I'll be
one of these
one of these
tutorial videos and then be like, "Oh man, my website's, my old website or it's different." So, it's like this is one of those things you have to constantly keep up on cuz things change.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are constantly changing. A lot of times, people, if they're changing something in their brand or they're changing an address, they're moving their offices, these are things that get overlooked a lot of the times. It'll happen on one profile, but not the other. And for you, in having a healthy business like what you had talked about in your previous video, that's one of the most important things in Google is that everything does match up and it's not getting conflicting information about your brand and your business.
Perfect. That's awesome. So that's extremely important that everything matches, you guys. So you got to make sure that happens. Okay, so next thing is make sure you have as many links as possible on these platforms. So your website, your Facebook business page, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, like anything, your Yelp, when you're on some of these platforms and it gives you the ability to plug in other places, you want to make sure you fill all those because those are called backlinks. And so the more that one page is linking to the other pages, it's going to give you more. What would you say, Michael? Like Google juice? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, Google Juice is definitely a term that's used a lot. We like to call it kind of the Google dance. And what that means is Google is constantly crawling and checking these places for information. So especially on your website, if you're leveraging some of these authoritative sites, such as an Instagram, on LinkedIn, and you're making sure that you're having those backlinks in there, you're able to leverage the authority that they have, which is obviously most of the time much higher than what our standard website would be. So you're allowing each one of these different platforms to piggyback off. If you're doing that consistently across all of your platforms and making sure that you have these links in all of those pages.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so then the next one is on all of these sites, making sure that you include high quality video and images because people want to see what you have going on. And so, in my coaching programs, we talk about video and the importance of video. Same thing with images. You want everything to be as high quality as possible on these sites, so that when people are going through there, you look professional, your brand's there. Like I'm wearing my Ayler Lending Team shirt. I always have everything branded, no matter where I go or what I do. So it's cohesive across the board. And then number 5 is making sure that your brand is backed by reviews. And this is the main thing that Michael and I linked up on, because I should probably have 3 or 4 times as many reviews as I do, because we help so many people. My clients always come back, but I just forget. And so, Michael was talking, he's like, hey, we have an automated, system to where we go and ask for reviews. And if anyone does give you a 3 or lower star review, it actually takes them in-house and asks them what the problem was before they pump that bad review out onto the interweb. So that's huge. I can't wait to see like how many more reviews we get, because having 100, 200, 300 reviews compared to a guy that has like 20 something like I have now, that's a lot of social credibility. And the thing is to know is you don't have to have services like this if you're diligent. If you're constantly asking for the review, every time, all the time, and you're getting a ton in, then you're probably set. But someone like me, I always forget, I get busy. Some people, it just feels weird to ask. Like, I don't know, you could have 1,000 excuses. So we're just going to let the experts handle this for us, and that's what Ogvo does. But like I said, you don't have to have the paid stuff to make this work. It just kind of takes whatever you're doing and, almost is like injects it with steroids. And then the last one, this is one that Michael told me, the pro tip is you need to optimize each platform for your services in your service areas. So mine was saying like lender instead of broker. And then that means people that are searching for brokers aren't going to find me. So instead of just keep talking about it, let's hop in and have Michael, rip my stuff apart. So we did this in the video. Actually, you know what? Let's do an incognito. And we talked about this in my other video, because if you do incognito, it's not going to, take into account your past search history and things like that. Ayler Lending Team. Okay. So let me make sure. Yep, I have this up on the stream so you guys can see this. So just based on what you see here, as I scroll through, Michael, like what are your thoughts and where should we start?
So you have a very good start with everything that you currently have in place. One of the keys on where we originally started our conversation was being able to have a big focus on your Google business page, similar to the where you do with your Facebook and your Instagram now, where your brand is very strong in those 2 places. And the Google business page is an overlooked thing a lot of the time with being able to complete that circle of the Google juice and the Google dance that we talked about earlier. So your brand on here is definitely consistent with what you see there. One thing that I would change right now is you're categorizing yourself as a mortgage lender in Gilbert, Arizona. So the thing to keep in mind with that is most of your videos and whatnot are talking about you being a broker and the advantages and whatnot that your consumers have with working with you in being a broker. So that right there is kind of giving conflicting messaging around, what you're categorizing yourself as. One thing on the Google page as well that is it's overlooked by a lot of businesses. No one really takes advantage of it, and it also really is something that keys into taking that brand and the services that you specialize in and being able to give Google that information. So the questions and answers section, that's actually very vital if you're having consumers or, even if you have family members or spouses go in there and ask you questions around what are the types of services that you're providing? Where are you providing those services? That's all important data that Google doesn't have, because you can do all the optimization in the back end of the profile, Google and whatnot, they're always going to change some of that stuff. But when it's coming from the consumer and them asking and engaging with you in this content, that's where you're going to see a high return on the things that they're going to be able to do. So there's a nice little tip that a lot of people are in, because I see that right now you don't have any
Yeah, I didn't even know
questions
about
answered.
that.
So that's definitely something. Yeah, that's a huge place on where to be able to do that. If you scroll down below to your business description on that Google business page, okay, so here's one key thing that's missing. Updates from the Ailer lending team. So right now, it's essentially blank. A good business description of the fact that you're a broker in Gilbert, Arizona, talking about, how long that you've been doing it for. That's a very important piece of you being able to be found organically and turning your reviews into new referrals. So those are just a couple pieces there on the Google business page that you can all do on your own, and easily be able to get people to pop in there and ask you some questions, and then keeping that brand on that Google page consistent with your Facebook and your Instagram. But
Man,
everything
that's
else, as
awesome.
far as as far as everything else looks pretty solid with that. My next point would be to kind of what we were talking about. You have such a great brand awareness and whatnot, and people know you in the area as being a lender, and you're very active with your videos. But then if I go to look up your brand and see the 25 reviews, that's just like you said. You should realistically, with how many people you help, easily have 3 times as many as that. So
Yeah.
you want your reviews to be consistent in your brand and your messaging that you're putting out there that shows that you really are helping that many, and allow your clients to
Right.
essentially do that marketing for you in the form of reviews.
And I, when you brought that up, I really thought about that. Is like our videos, like we do ads with Facebook to make sure that we're always out in front of people that are actively looking for a loan. And if they're seeing me over and over and over and over for the last few years, and then they go and see only 24 reviews, to some people that would be a big red flag, because they're like, how can I see this
Yeah,
guy
it's
everywhere
not
and
really
he only has
matching up.
25 reviews?
Absolutely, and that's one of the biggest things that when I sit down and I do these types of analysis with businesses, is making sure that that is matching up, because you can put in your signature or on your website all these awards and accolades and everything that you've won, but at the end of the day, a lot of the time, that's you promoting the work that you've done, but there's nothing stronger than the form of a review of what your clients are saying about you.
Right. I definitely agree with you there. So, um, you know, we just signed up with Ogvo. All these things you mentioned, do you give me recommendations and then I go in here and fill it out, or does your team do that?
As far as the optimization with like changing your title over, helping you come up with a detailed business description, doing all the service areas, the services that you provide, that's all part of the optimization that we handle for you here at Ogvo. So we will
Okay.
help you with how to be able to do it, and we coach you on that stuff so you know it for the future. But we'll actually take care of some of the legwork to ensure that it is done properly and that you can leverage those reviews to turn into new business. Things like the asking a question section and whatnot, that's something that we coach you on, and then be able to leverage that to do it yourself. A part of our program that we do for all of our clients once they get set up, that's actually a new piece of through the time that you're with us, that we're going in and showing you how to engage your clients through the questions and answers and all the different other features that we talked about.
Awesome. So let's go in here. So, because some people are going to want to do this on their own, so I think it's good for them to know how to do it. How does someone get to the back end of the Google business?
You would go to Google My Business, and then you use your login credentials for your Google Business page.
I think manage now or sign in.
Yeah, you should go to Manage Now, so you'll be able to log in.
Got the two-step, man. They always keep us safe now.
I know.
Okay. Okay, I gotta request access. Oh, this might be on my other account, but let's see. Let me log into I have too many accounts.
I figured you might have a few of them.
Okay, use another account. My personal account. I should probably have it switched over to the other one, but it's like I think when I set it up, I was being lazy and just.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did I get it? Yes! I remembered the password. I can't believe it. I usually have to reset it every time. I'm sure everybody else is in that boat too.
Yeah, that's definitely something that, okay.
Okay, I think we're here. But this might be for my other business, because I had a gym. So that's like where people might have some
Yeah,
issues too.
this is looking a little bit different from the standard Google business page background from like what we, like if we were gonna be looking at your other one.
Let's try it again. Maybe it is through this one. Let's see.
Worst case scenario in the PowerPoint that I have, I do have a slide that's got like a really good example of all the different sections and whatnot. So
Here we go.
here, perfect.
So I should be able just to click on it.
Okay.
Is this right?
Yes. So this is where
We made it.
Yeah, we got in there. So there's a lot of important information here. You can track performance. Google Insights is something that a lot of people don't even go into. But once you really start building up your rankings and your reviews, Google will give you the full insights to how many phone calls that you're getting, how many times your Google business page is being viewed. So there's a lot of it, as you can see there, you've been viewed 110 times, 107 searches. So it does give you a lot of the different insights and whatnot. One other thing that a lot of people forget about with the Google business page is you can post as if it is a social media channel, such as Instagram or Facebook. So important updates that are happening in the mortgage broker space in the industry, putting those updates out there, streaming, reviews from Facebook and Instagram that you have into that Google business page. All of that interaction in those different spots are all easy, free things that you can do to make yourself more relevant with Google. So that's a good thing that a lot of people don't do. But in the left-hand side here, this is where you can come in here and make those posts. Make sure that all of your info's set up. You see the insights there. So this is where you'd literally be able to go in and put in that post, and it'll post at the bottom of your Google business page in the posting section. So kind of another little interesting tip that you'll be able to leverage. If you're in the info tab,
So this is where I would change to mortgage broker.
yep. So right here on the fly, we can change this out and put mortgage brokers. So now, right there, you're now categorized and labeled properly. So you see right there below the map, add service area, you have that blank. So right now, if you don't have this filled out, Google's not going to have the right area and information. And I would recommend to put all of your main areas that you focus on. A lot of people will only put like where their office is and things like that, but if you don't give this data to Google, you're never going to be relevant for any of these searches or for people trying to find you. So instantly now, your profile has a lot of, sometimes it doesn't happen right away. It might take 12 to 24 hours for Google to, when you do a bunch of changes like that, if you do it too fast, sometimes
I think I did it too fast and it like kicked me out.
you seem to work for about 12. Yeah, so that's one of the things that will happen if you're loading a bunch of new data in there. Don't be alarmed if you don't see it come up right away on your page, because sometimes Google does need to be able to,
Oh, yeah, it says
verify
under
that.
review.
See how it says under review there? Um,
Cool.
So good piece right there. A lot of people don't have their office hours put into here. Obviously, that's important for people being able to know when it is that they can contact you and when they should be able to expect certain things like that. So every piece, the thing with this is that you don't want to have blank spots. Just like any profile, like I bet on your Facebook and Instagram and everything, you make sure that you go, just like your website. If you have missing information and missing pieces from it, it's not going to be relevant. So as you can see, now another big one down below there is that services section. This is, especially for being a mortgage broker, home loans. Look, there's already a bunch of options that it's giving you right there with what you categorize yourself as. And I would go as far as doing the fact of if you do VA, FHA, all the different loans that you work with, I would recommend putting all those in there.
Yeah, and we can go through and add these. And then when you do these, do you just hit enter here?
It should be save.
Save. Oh, yep.
Okay. And so you can get real extensive with this. Obviously, the more information and more things, the more relevancy that you'll have in indexing with this information through Google. Oh yeah, Google business pages actually do come with a little microsite as well. So that's another thing too, making sure that some of that information is accurate on there, because it is a searchable site that will come up if you do a search. Like if someone searched me, my little Google site does come up.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So this was the main one that we wanted to make sure we hit. I think that was most everything on this one. We'll take a peek at Facebook real quick. Let me go back.
Facebook, I'm having a feeling I might not have to critique very much.
What's that?
I said your Facebook, I'm having a feeling I might not have to critique very much, because you're really active.
I mean, there's so many little things like Facebook and Google and all this changes so much that
absolutely
it's hard to keep up, even if you do this all the time. Like how do you keep up with it all when you're trying to like do your job?
Absolutely. And that's kind of like what you had mentioned. You absolutely can do all of these things on your own. The hard part is just getting the time to make sure that you can stay on top of it and manage it correctly.
So I mean, right off the gate, old logo, so I need to update my background image.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that I noticed. I mean, not a huge thing. It's just like I like everything to be, congruent. We don't really have very many reviews here because we've been pushing people to Google. But with your service, it gives them the option to go do it on the platform, and then they come back, and then it can say, hey, do you want to do it on another platform, right?
Absolutely. And so where a lot of business owners hurt themselves in trying to get reviews is they only give there's one option to leave a review. A lot of people will push one particular platform or the other because maybe they're advertising there, or they're running Facebook ads, so they want to make sure that they're backed by reviews when people are seeing them. Whereas if your clients don't have those platforms, they have to create profiles to leave reviews in those sections. So obviously in that instance, you're asking your clients a lot. It's already hard enough a lot of the times to get them to actually easily go through and leave you the review. But if you're making them jump through hoops as far as creating a Google business, Gmail account and things like that to leave the review, you'll struggle. So that's why we give them options and allow them to choose where they feel comfortable, where they have their logins. And one cool thing is, like, if they're doing this from their phone, which a lot of people will be when these requests for reviews are going to them, if I select like a Yelp, or I selected a Facebook as my option, if I have that app, a Facebook app on my phone, it just opens the Facebook app. So there's no logging in as your client. It just takes me right to my page. I'm right there on your Facebook business page and able to leave you that recommendation.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, everything looks pretty good here. And then, you guys will definitely go through and review and use your software to make sure everything matches. I think the biggest thing that I struggle with is sometimes I heavily lean on my personal profile, because I do post a lot of content on there, and I have to get in the habit of making sure I'm posting my content on every platform: YouTube, Facebook Business, Instagram, on Google now. And so it's like having a system or a routine, or having your assistant do this. Like once you create your content, make sure that it goes out across the board, because every time you're putting that content out, it's just Google knows like, okay, this person's consistently putting content out and the competitor is not, so they're more likely to show you higher in a ranking when you're more active.
Absolutely, and because that goes across the board for all of these platforms, whether it is Google, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They're basing it off of the interactions that you're having happen on these pages. One other thing that we have, obviously, like you can do this on your own, and it makes you kind of jump around a little bit with it. But we do have a tool to help you with that time, so you can connect all of your social accounts, and when you go to make a post, it'll go to all of those channels with one click of a button. So it'll save you a bunch of time with being able. So you personally, I think you would really benefit from that tool of being able to do that and have it go all out at once.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know that. That would save a ton of time. Wow. Okay, that's really cool. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything. Is there anything else that you think that people should know about this before we sign off today?
I mean, the main thing is just, like we said, making sure that everything is consistent and matching up. Consumers, I think the stats are like 95% before they work with you are checking out your reviews first. So however it is that they're coming across you, whether it's marketing and advertising that you're doing, radio ads, if people are coming across your website through, optimization that you've done for your website, or even if people are referred to you, they're all taking the silent step of going to look up your digital footprint. And just like you said, is it healthy or is it not? And that's where you will be losing business if it's not healthy and you can't track it. So as a business owner, that is something very scary. So these things are very vital for, keeping your brand strong and continuously growing your business organically.
That's awesome. And one thing before we sign off, with your service, do you give like a monthly report of search traffic and how many, what's working, like the numbers, so we know if what we're doing is actually seeing an improvement?
Yeah, so we do have some basic reporting now. That's actually one of our big focuses that I've just gotten done with some meetings on right now, is building that out a lot more. We're going to get when you first log in, a full dashboard that you'll come into and be able to check the health of all the different things, as far as when your last reviews were, where you're getting your reviews, what your click-through rates are, and all that stuff. So there is some of that stuff in place right now, but it's definitely something that we're going to be expanding on a lot more.
Awesome. I love it. Because in business, it's all about how many irons do you have in the fire. Is you have your organic, that just is referral business that comes to you through your friends and your family and your network. Then you have your business partners that are referring to you. Then you have the content that you're putting out that is going to start bringing in eyeballs. Then you have your search traffic, people that are on the internet searching that come to you. And then you have your paid traffic. And there's probably 1,000 different more ways that you can do it, but those are like the 5 that I focus on. And so I'm really excited to see how much more organic we can get, because to me, spending money on advertising is just to fuel the fire to get more people into our ecosystem and turn into more referrals and more down the line business, not just, hey, I need to just convert these leads. Like I want to turn those people into like, almost like family, right? They come into the fold, they see what we can do, they see we can help them. Even if we can't help them, we give them great advice, and then now they know that they can trust us, and it just becomes this snowball where it's just like you're known in your local area now as like the trusted person that's gonna be helping the community. So awesome. Well, I appreciate all the insight, Michael. This helps me. I can't wait for you guys to go in and optimize. I just don't have the patience to do that stuff anymore. So I'm pumped to see how the numbers are going to change. So if we could, I'd love, when you first do this for me, is to get a report to show, everything we have today, and then every month we can kind of post publicly and just show, my little coaching community of how the numbers are going, so they can see real time, how it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that we do for all of our clients. We screenshot and show kind of where you're starting off at, and then at these different certain points, we're definitely showing you the differences in where you've seen those increases and everything. So I'm going to be excited to look into all that with you as well, and share the success that we're going to have together on this.
Man, I am pumped. It's all about knowing your numbers and knowing where you're going, and you want to make sure you're going up. So awesome, Michael. I appreciate you coming on and giving all that awesome, advice. Everybody watching this, please take action. Go in, make these adjustments. If you don't have time to do it or you just don't like doing this stuff, reach out to Michael, and he'll make sure that he does it for you. So that's it. Hope you guys are doing great. Implement, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right.